so today's all about changing perceptions, as you may well have known when you bought your ticket. And what I'm going to share with you today is actually perceptions that of mine that have changed by telling you a few stories and things. And hopefully you can take something away from this. I'm not a teacher, because I'm way too impatient for that. And but if you get something out of this and learn a little something, then my job is done and I sleep well. So, my talk is called Speed Kills or Does It? And it's all about rapid adoption of technology and blah, blah, whatever, and I'll get into it. But I want to take you through a bit of a journey first. So, in 1998, Open Diary was launched. Is anyone here old enough to have used Open Diary? It was the first blogging engine that was launched. Before blogs were launched back in the day, now I had just matriculated this time, so it was all pretty new to everybody. But before blogs launched, tech guys, developers, software dudes used blogs much like forums, right? So they created their own thing and they forumed here and there and chatted and things, and that's where the whole conversation started. It was just for the nerds, okay? Yes, I know. So, and then Open Diary launched, and they wanted to make it more applicable to more people to have conversations about other things. And the term Open Diary obviously meant, okay, cool, so now I don't have to just write in my little book that hides under my bed, and dear diary, this is this, this is that. You can now share it with other people, and they can have their comments and things, right? Starts out with friends, as most of you started blogging ages ago. No, right? A diary about yourself. The next year, Blogger launched. Did anyone start using Blogger? Anyone have used Blogger before? A few hands. Okay, cool. Blogger was the first more popular blogging engine. It was the same year that Jeffrey Moore relaunched Crossing the Chasm. And Crossing the Chasm changed now the title, but the premise was still the same. And when he launched it, the premise around Crossing the Chasm, as Jeffrey Moore was talking about, was around how do we move the adoption of technology past the innovators and the early adopters and guys that really want to get involved and do stuff to the early majority start getting mass sales and things happen and lots of people make money and all is good, right? Because you need to have that curve of learning to be able to get to that point. So that's 99. Fast forward to 2001. And I had started my own blog on Blogspot. It was called DUFH, right? Don't You Hate? And thank you. And it was a personal recount of stuff that happened in my life. People started then sending me stuff. So it always started out with "Don't you hate?" and then I'd write a little something. At the time, most of the content was around the stuff that my girlfriend did, which always had good content. Crazy bitch. So that was that. We had a very, very small South African audience. We dealt with a lot of people in the UK, the US, and Australia. Because 2001, very, very early days, funnily enough. 2 years later, myself and 3 mates started a blog called Joe Blog. We all had our own individual blogs and thought, well, you know, you've got this style, I've got that style, let's put it all together. So Joe Blog was launched, and what's amazing is that I took this post out of Joe Blog. It's from 2004. It's about a cruiser titanium USB flash stick, and the title was "They Just Keep Getting Better," because it was 512 megabytes. And you could flick it out and put it back in again. No cap. I mean, hey? They just keep getting better. So that was amazing. It was the same year that TypePad, does anyone use TypePad as a blogging engine back in the day? No. Didn't have too much of a long run. We started Joe Blog on TypePad, then moved over to WordPress, and both of those were launched in 2003. Then, 2005. 6 years after the first blogging engine had officially launched, Fortune magazine got hold of it and wrote a title, 8 bloggers businessmen should not ignore. Robert Scoble was on that list, and Robert Scoble was one of the guys that we would interact with when we had started blogging. Scoble, Seth Godin, John Moore, Johnny Moore, those guys who are now, I mean, super schlebs in the online blogger space, but, how's the tea? What a legend, that guy. So, and the Scovelizer was on the list and things, and as you would imagine, when Fortune starts talking about stuff, things boom, right? And the curve hit, and that chasm was crossed, and blogs just started booming. And as you would obviously know now, blogs are massive. This is just data from WordPress, because a lot of the guys don't like sharing too much. But WordPress, just so you have an understanding, 65 million posts are created every month. That's about 2 million a day of banal crap, let's be honest. But it's there. People feeling that they need to share something. 2 million posts a day, right? Which is hardcore, which results in 17 billion page views. Guys like Mashable, CNN use WordPress as their website engine. It's essentially a blog that they have recreated and now have built for their purposes, which is outstanding. So if you look at the list and the timeline of 6 years of progression, right? When we started using Blogger, and it was such early days, we could actually email the guys at Blogger when we found problems, and they would email back. I know, right? Because they were trying to build something, and they knew it was a process, and they knew that people weren't jumping onto it. It wasn't this all of a sudden, everyone's going to smash, and yes, big blogging, go, 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 and it's going to be huge. They understand the process. Guys like us, guys like Seth Godin, John Moore, all shared content. How can we make this better? We had to create our own templates. They gave very basic stuff, but we had to learn HTML, like from scratch. I mean, I'm no dev guy, but this was the thing. Now, a WordPress blog jumping onto it is phenomenal. There's tips everywhere. You can do anything you want, right? Pop a picture in here, it'll resize, do that, the next thing. They'll never reply to you if you send them an email, right? You just got to figure it out for yourself. But they've made it as best as possible for you to try and make this close enough to what you want to do if you start your own blog today, right? Reason being, I believe, is that blogging, the whole process, took time to get to this point, to get the early adopters, the innovators, the guy who thought, okay, this is actually pretty cool, let's try this out. We took time to work at it, right? And things have changed. So blogging to reach mass adoption took about 6 years before things started changing. Time to reach 10 million users for Twitter was 780 days, which is just over 2 years. All right, so still a long time for 10 million people. Facebook was a little longer. So over 2 years is still, it's okay, right? And Twitter is still popular. Facebook is still popular because they're very simple beasts to operate, right? Then you look on the flip side. More recently, reaching 10 million users, Google Plus took 16 days, okay? 16 days. Yes, they had the backing of everyone with so many Gmail accounts, and all you had to do is click a button, and now you're logged in and stuff. But the fact remains, 16 days for 10 million people to jump onto something, right? However, probably took about 16 minutes to look like this, because Google Plus is a little cuck, really. Right? So I don't even know anyone who uses it anymore. Let's be honest, all right? Google Plus didn't solve a problem, though. They thought, okay, let's recreate what everyone else is doing. We'll add circles and things like that. Who cares? Okay, who really cares? The only thing that Google Plus did for me was let me realize how few friends I actually have. Because they make you put things into friends and acquaintances. And acquaintances was just going, so, and friends is like this little thing, and it actually, like, it was enlightening, but that was about 16 minutes of my life, and I'll never get that back. But I learned a little something. So, Adrian Lee, if anyone's ever met Adrian before, hell of a rad guy, Singaporean, South African, works for Rank Card Solutions, used to work for Samsung Mobile, and a couple of years ago when I was chatting to Adrian, he was telling me the statistics that they got was 1 in every 4 apps is opened more than once. Okay, so you find 4 apps. 4 of your friends tell you 4 different apps that you should download to your phone because they're amazing and it'll change your life. Okay, so you download these apps. You'll check every one of these, and 3 of them, this is average, 3 of them, you will look at it once, realize this is a bit crap, and delete it. Okay? only one you will open up more than once. Not to say that you will use that consistently. It's just opening it up more than once, right? Scary, because we haven't given things time. If you had to look back at how Blogger and blogs in general, the adoption and how blogs now are built, websites are built around blogging engines, okay? There could be gems inside some of these apps, but we don't give it the time. Right? There's this whole thing around instant gratification, and everyone's talking about this, the I generation and I, me, blah, 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 whatever, right? Because we just want stuff, and we want it now. And if it doesn't work for me at this point in time, I'm going to find the next thing. And if I don't find it, I'm not going to give things the time to work at it, right? We don't want to fix or believe that I can make this work for me. So if it doesn't work for me now, kill it and move on, right? Which is scary. So I believe there's two things that are happening at the moment that are contributing towards this theory, okay? So the first thing is around opportunity. So this is my friend Neil, okay? Neil is a presentation strategist, which means that he works with companies and speakers to help them present better, okay? This is Taylor Swift, or at least a girl who looks like Taylor Swift. And Neil and I were at a conference in New York last March. And we were just attendees, watching, taking notes, and Taylor Swift came onto stage, and Neil was in love. Okay, of course, she looks like Taylor Swift. Let's be honest. Okay, so we're watching this, and Neil is like, oh, this girl is just, she's beautiful. I want this woman to be my wife. And he was very, very excited, okay? American chick. And Taylor Swift did a presentation, a 5-minute presentation. Which is one of these, conferences have the long talks and the short talks. She was one of the short talks, little 5-minute around this helping girls in tech, right? They have it's not a non-profit thing, it's a business that help females actually get into the development and software in tech space. And this was her thing. And she's young and blonde and hot, which is fantastic. But there were a few things in her presentation. As someone who does presentations myself, you can see, you spot certain things. Could have done this better, could have done that better. Overall, she was pretty good. So the after party at the end of this conference happens. And we go to MoMA, and it's amazing. There's a DJ, there's a Museum of Modern Art. And there's a DJ there, and there's lights and things, and there's free drinks, and everything's all lacquer. And Neil and I are there, jamming away, trying to be cool. And Neil spots Taylor Swift at the bar and says to me, hang 10. I'm going to give us a bash, right? Because he saw her, and he realized he has an opportunity, okay? She's a speaker. He's a presentation strategist. He could help her with some strategy on a presentation. Nice little in, okay? So Neil walks up to her and he starts talking. He says, oh no, I'm Neil, whatever. I'm still standing now, dancing by myself, with 2 drinks, because Neil gave me his, so looking very, very, very lonely. And Neil starts doing his thing. And he tells me the story. And he's telling her about, Neil, I'm from South Africa already, Americans love Africans. So telling her I'm from South Africa, a presentation strategist. And, I thought we could chat about your prezzo, give you a few hints and tips and things like that. And she smiled, okay? And Neil thought, yes, I'm in. Opportunity. And she thought, opportunity. Free advice. So they spoke for about an hour. It was the longest lonely dance I've ever had in my life. And they were going, and they were chatting. And at one point, Neil thought he was in there because she started getting a bit more excited and involved. And, what about if I do this? What about if I do that? And really getting into things. And he thought, yes, I'm in there. And as he thought he was in there, she looked at him and said, okay, see ya. And left, right? Because the opportunity was now done. She got the information, she got the advice, and she ducked. All right? Neil had to buy a bottle of lotion for that evening. Didn't work out the way he planned. But so that's the first thing. Second thing for me is all around DIY, right? At the same conference, this is Jane. I will not try and pronounce her name. Her last name, it's Gaelic, Welsh. I think it's probably pronounced Smith, because those guys are so weird. Anyway, Jane started a product, built, innovated, created a product called Sugru. Has anyone ever used Sugru before? Sugru is amazing. Sugru comes in a little foil packet, right? Different colors and things like it. And Sugru is a soft, basically like a putty that you create and you build things. And over a certain period of time, I think you have to leave it for 24 hours, it hardens into a silicon base. Okay, so you can't break it apart. I mean, you could cut it and things like that, but Sugru is built sound. People fix things with it. They create sort of hard edges. People put Sugru on the edge of sharp tables where they have kids and things like that. Sugru, you can do anything with it. I've fixed stuff at home from laptop power cables to spade handles. It's amazing. And Jane says this. Says you don't need to be an expert to do something, right? You can just learn it. Jane was not a chemist. Jane realized that people weren't fixing stuff anymore. Your microwave starts rattling, you think, oh, this is not cool. Chuck it away and buy a new one because there's another $800, right? $800 is nothing. Okay, another microwave, boom. We've become a very, very strong throwaway society. So Jane's like, fuck it. I don't like this. I want people to fix things. So she created Sugru. She started at home and she was taking wood chips and press stick stuff and this and that and fixing and whatever. She started going to chemistry labs, chatting to people. What about this? She was not a chemist. She knew nothing about molecular stuff. She just wanted to fix things. And over a period of time, she learned it and worked with these people and created Sugru, which is amazing. If you go to Sugru now, they've actually come up with new color ranges. There's like passion pink and things. It's amazing, okay? Really focusing to the chicks as well, which is cool. So you can fix Barbie houses for babies and I don't know, whatever. No, don't give Barbies to babies. I think they're too small parts. I don't know. So if you took thing one and thing two, opportunity and DIY, right? The opportunity to do things, okay, and get information, and then the next step is to do it yourself. What happens very often is we get a lot of duplication of stuff, a lot of duplication of me, okay? So firstly, I run a part of a business that helps companies strategize and help their businesses run better. Okay, so we run brainstorms and strategy and blah, 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 whatever, and we help them do better shit. So I'd like hands up to everybody who has helped someone with any sort of problem in their work environment at any point in time. There we go. Okay, everyone, basically, okay? Which is scary because stuff like this happens. So this is my, my coming to Jesus moment, okay, was this. So this is my friend, Brent Spilkin. Okay, he goes by Spilly on Twitter, 3L, Spilly. Okay, looks like a bit of a wank in this photo, but he's actually a nice guy. I promise you he's a good oak. Okay, don't take this at face value. He is legend. He was probably lost a bet and had to take this photo. So Spilly used to own an achar company, all right, and had it for years, worked it as a family business, and they sold mango achar out of the East Rand. And Spilly found Twitter, right, like Jesus, and was so engrossed in Twitter that lost sight of his business. Long story short, lost the business, okay? Business failed. Owed lots of money, had to get liquidated, just not a good time in his life, all because he found this new social network and became, so Spilly is like besties with Nolene, okay? Because he got her onto Twitter. So if you've seen Nolene on Twitter, this oak is to blame, all right? So you can throw things at him. So what happened was now Spilly is amazing and popular on Twitter, but he has no job, all right? Has no business and owes lots of money. So he decided in his all encompassing wisdom, that he's going to start a business coaching company called Growing Pains, helping small businesses grow, get them through the startup phase, help them through things purely from the knowledge that he'd gained by running his business, losing his business, and being connected to a lot of people who he can chat to around these kinds of topics. Okay, so when he was running his business, we would chat to him about our stuff, he would chat to us about his stuff, and he has a good network of people that he can share information with, and luckily he's a smart guy. Okay, so he started a business doing business coaching, the kind of stuff that we could potentially do as Missing Link. All right? And then I was like, well, that's a bit cuck. Because if a guy who sold acha is now doing, and his business is doing phenomenally well, right? He's probably making more money now than he was with a huge business, and he's a one-man band, okay? And changing the world by helping small businesses do stuff. Easy. He was selling acha. Now he's doing this, right? Which is scary, which scares the hell out of me. So we talk about doing things differently, okay? And we talk about the of things. So we can do things smoother, efficient-er. You know, finding these cool things. Everyone calls them their USPs, right? We can do things better or more efficient or whatever it is. And this USP, and everyone's trying to find this USP that's going to differentiate themselves from everybody else. Because if everyone's doing the same thing that you do, or that can do the same thing that you do, like Spilly now helping businesses, right? Atcha! Helping businesses, okay? That's a scary thing for someone like me, who all I have is standing in front of people and talking to them and help them fix stuff, okay? Problem solving. I mean, it's not a business, okay? That's just chatting, okay? Luckily, we make money, but that's cool. But so does he, okay? And so can everybody. Anyone here, if you have some sort of smarts, could do something like that, okay? Right network, right people, things could happen. But you need some sort of a differentiator, which everyone's trying to find. What's this USP? What's going to make me better than you, better than you, better than you, but we're all doing the same thing? And it's simple. Guys come up with things like creating purpose-driven work and marrying objectives with insights, you know, creating meaningful work. Well, I'd bloody well hope so, okay, if you're getting paid for it. But this is the kind of stuff that people I found online, South African companies that are writing this stuff. It's mostly ad agencies because they're all up their own asses, but this is the kind of stuff that people say is the USP, right? Which shouldn't be. I mean, it doesn't, is this really USP stuff? No, it's the stuff that just says ticket to the game. USP is beyond just, oh yes, I've heard of you, you're the company who blah, 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 right? It's got to be something bigger. And you can find it online, which is easy, and you can create your own. But it's a challenge. So some guys try to be cooler. So if I had to ask you, what's the coolest office in the world? There we go. Google. Didn't even have to drive there. It just happens. Google, right? Google, of course. But there are so many places that tried and put this badge of awesome on themselves, right? Because this is the place we want to be. And Google is one of them. So you go into Google, this is from different Google offices and stuff, and they've got pods and things and colors and whatnots and skateboards and slides and things, right? Which is fun. This is another office. This is my office in 4 ways. We have a tree house, we have a caravan deli, we've got a tattoo studio, a slide that goes down here, fireman's pole, we have a shooting range. You can bomb down from the top floor to the downstairs, down the fireman's pole, and it's fun and the guys enjoy it and it's cool, right? So, and that's 4 ways, not Silicon Valley, right? So cool is no more. Or people try to be faster. Okay, we can do things faster. So I'm going to try and do the same thing as you, but I'm going to do it faster so the client will choose me, right? Which is tricky. So getting to the finish line first is my USP. But guys have been doing this for years. So recruitment agents, because they all look like this, okay? In my head, they all look like this. Recruitment agents are all about the speed. They use the same database, they have the same clients, they connect the people who want jobs, for the people who have the jobs to give, and the person who's going to get that person to them the fastest is going to win, right? Because everyone's working from the same pool of stuff. It's all about speed. Domino's Pizza, also all about speed. 1973, when they launched, they had free, right? 30 minutes or your pizza is free. Because they were about the speed. They wanted to get it there fast, and they wanted to make sure that the guys obviously didn't have to not pay for it. And that was their USP. First company to sell time, or first food company anyway to sell time as a differentiator. In 1985, they realized that free was getting a bit much, so then they decided, okay, $3 off. Okay? So in 1985 was still quite a bit. So at the time, you were probably paying about $9 for a pizza. So it's about 30% off, which is still not bad. Okay, $6 versus $9. If you're paying $90 for a pizza versus $60, it's a good enough deal if it's late, right? Well, $60 for cold pizza is actually pretty cut. But either way, they probably had ovens. Then in 1993, Domino's were facing $20 million worth of lawsuits because their drivers were killing people. No word of a lie, right? So one driver skipped a red robot, got onto a sidewalk and killed an old lady. Other guys were driving into the back of people because they were trying to get to places in time. The driver's obviously bound by the time and things. It was part of their pay and whatever, and they didn't have to want to get less money. So they started killing people, and Domino's had a $20 million to pay to lots of people, so they decided to can it. But then in 2007... they still kept the 30 minutes idea, but they shifted it on its head, right? So they're still talking about time here, which is, again, if they're the first guys to do it, and 30 minutes are free, 30 minutes, $3 off, they wanted to hold on to that. So a clever ad agency took the 30 minutes and changed the concept around, you've got 30 minutes, right? And they're Americans, so they don't say, you've got... because those are just grammar challenged. So you got 30 minutes, okay? And so you got 30 minutes to do whatever you want, because your pizza will be there in 30 minutes, right? And they had this launch of adverts, and I'm going to show you one just to give you an understanding of what they were talking about.
The Domino's lady just said we've got 30 minutes. You think what I'm thinking?
What are we going to do with the other 28 minutes?
Okay, and they had adverts like 30-minute abs, so the guy's you see him on the telephone who's got a bit of a beer boop, and when he's got 30 minutes and he does lots of sit-ups and crunches and blah, blah, blah. When he's got this like hardcore six-pack and things like that, and so it was a lot of fun, but still keeping the whole faster USP, right, which Domino's was winning at all the time. But the question you need to ask yourselves, though, and this is thank you. So I'm not going to say thank you yet. So the question you need to ask yourself is, which side of the fence do you sit on? Okay, are you sitting on the side where we're just going to continue? Or are you sitting in the middle where you're teetering on, maybe I should change, maybe we shouldn't? Or are you on the other side where you're looking aggressively to find that differentiator, that USP for yourselves? Because it's tough, right? With everyone trying everything and can do almost everything, and with this idea of instant gratification and rapid fire adoption of technology and things, where are we sitting at the moment? It's a tough place to be. So my final thoughts is this. I'm not going to give you the silver bullet, because there is none. Right? Each to their own. We have our own way we do things. You have your own way of doing things. You have your own way of doing things. But the biggest lesson that I have learned, and that we always share with people, is in a sea of everyone who's trying to be you, at least trying to do the same stuff that you do, the only way to get it right is to be the best version of yourself. Okay? Not try be someone else. So the big lesson, the final ending, is don't try be just be awesome. Happy. Ladies and gentlemen, thank you very much.